All righty, everybody. Welcome back for your best 2 hours of wargaming on the internet. And yes, you can see who we have in the chat. And as special guests this week, my lawyers contacted their lawyers for their indiscretion from last week. And their punishment was to come on the show this week. So welcome, David Heath and Devin.
It truly is a punishment.
It is a punishment for sure.
Well, our lawyers negotiate some no thongs, so you guys are lucking out.
Just as well.
Oh, well, I thought, we use Lock and Load's name in vain a lot on our show. Tony uses the word every other day or every other sentence. He uses the word Lock and Load. So I figured it was about time to get the men behind the scenes back on the show. So, David, how you been, buddy? It's been a while.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. We have talked to recently. We kept missing each other on the phone, and I'm glad to see you doing well, and you guys are all doing well. Devin, I'm sure he's just loving having to talk to me, and now on a weekend again. So
it's like I live in the same house with him. I tell you,
you guys should just move in together, right? Just absolutely move in together.
I bet you there'll be less argument.
Well, it's good to have you guys on the show. Lots to talk about, lots to catch up on. Ruff, Tony, how you been? It's been a whole week since I've seen you guys.
Yeah, seems only like last week. I'm doing okay.
I can't stop seeing you, Jester. For some reason, every time I turn on YouTube, you're on it live.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of your videos.
Yeah, and because of them videos, I know you haven't got this one, but because of your videos, I've been a naughty boy. I'll show you in a minute.
I did games number 67 and 68 on the channel this week. So those are different games. So 67 and 68 different games on the channel and we still got a couple months left. So hopefully we'll get up into about 80 to 100 games. That's my goal. The reason I'm doing so many different games is because I want to do my top 50 games of all time, but before I do that, I want to have the opportunity to showcase a lot of different games. So, the more you play ahead of time, the more you have a chance of finding that diamond in the rough, right? So, anywho.
As we can tell, ID is not paying attention to chat.
No, he's not. We are. Don't worry.
I didn't hear. What are they saying bad about me now?
Oh, it's not. It's just funny. Alistair's got it.
Yeah, there you go.
One above.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube takeover. It's. I
think Dan's head's going to explode every time he puts you up.
It's Tony's just got his 1,000th person. Yeah, this week, right?
Last week. Last week. I just finally got to putting the video out that I wanted to put out.
He's putting more videos out than Dad versus Son and Jeff put together.
Yeah, those two are crazy. Those two are crazy for sure. Yeah, for sure, Tony. Congratulations on reaching 1,000.
subscribers now. I didn't think it was going to happen, and then it's like a snowball. It just keeps going, and it never happens like that. But it just
you think come on. Then suddenly it's there, isn't it? I mean, I've got a few, and now I'm nearly to 4,000.
Right.
That's crazy.
I think Ruff was complaining last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, that Tony was so heavy to carry, he finally had to put him down.
I did not. You tinker. You think I didn't
he
say
was
that.
carrying you for so long, Tony, couldn't do it anymore. Hey, what? So most important thing is, what does David's shirt say? I've been wondering that myself. David, what do you got there?
I'm scared.
Hippity hoppity, death is on the way.
Oh, cheery. Yeah.
There you go.
Very cheery. Yes.
Very nice. Richard is in the house. Hello, everyone. Demi's got 11 subscribers. He's well on his way.
Oh, you're off.
And we have
that's Mike Anthony.
He's changed his name because there was about 7 million Mike Anthonys on YouTube or something. Yeah.
And for those of you who say Jester complains about errata too much, I want every single person listening to my voice, go watch Mike's Anthony's or Mirandering Mike's video that he just posted on a live unboxing he did that had errata for the errata of the errata that was in the book. There was a errata in the book that had an errata, and then they printed out a separate sheet because the errata in the book was incorrect. It had the wrong hex on it. So how do you have errata for errata? That is crazy. Things are not. Production process is not right for board games. David, would you agree with that?
You know, I have to be honest with you. I hated that you said that, but you know, we've actually done that.
Right.
That's why we have gone to a living rule book now, so we don't have to post the errata to the errata to the errata. We just say the living rule book has been updated.
I've also, issued death threats and other things, but yeah.
How is rule books in war games? And I'm being serious now. Are rule books in war games, is that a dying thing?
I don't think so at all.
I don't think so.
You think
see, here's the thing. I need to read the physical rules, but once I get through them, I love having the PDF because it's easier to find stuff. Like once I read it, I like to read it hand.
I understand what you're saying, but if they didn't include the rule book, you would go read the rules online anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
Which I hate doing.
I took the question more for video rules, like the boot camps we do. I like the video. I like the rule books online because you can always find it and download it and look it up. And I was in motor vehicles. I was in motor vehicles the other day with my nephew and was waiting there forever. And someone asked a question on the help desk, and I didn't have the rule book on me, but I just looked it up on my phone, found the answer, and sent it to him. You can't do that with a paper book.
Right.
But I just like the old turny pagey. I'm an old-fashioned. Yeah.
Sure, people are old-fashioned, but I mean, just think about how antiquated and out of date they are. The minute they ship out of the factory, they're wrong or they're not updated as soon as they're put in the box.
Well, that's why I like computer production.
He's gone jittery.
It's time for David to upgrade his internet connection.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think he's got a windstorm going through right now.
Yeah, I use Starlink, man. The thing is, it hasn't gone down since I've bought it, honestly.
Huh. Well, it looks like you got a nice command center there. Actually,
nobody, William. Nobody.
Have a nice what?
A command center. It looks like you got a nice command center.
Oh yeah, I just finished repainting the office.
Nice
collections and stuff like that, and
that's great.
Wife's happy with me. Did the bar.
He hasn't done much work the last 2 weeks because he's been updating the office. I can't do that. I'm working on the office.
I've been renewing my lease with my wife.
That's important.
That sounds like a euphemism that I hope was. Actually, I hope it's true for you, David.
It's almost 40 years, so she hasn't. I haven't ticked her off enough yet.
Wow! Congrats on almost 40 years.
Yeah,
we've been married. I think we dated for 10 years, and we were married just 1 year shy of 40. I think, or 6 months from 30 years. Excuse me.
Oh, that's nice.
Sean says it took you 2 months to do your office.
Well, that's because Sean wants me to do his stuff right away, and he doesn't realize that Devin's more important, and other people.
Speaking of Sean,
we can't badmouth Sean. Yeah, I mean,
he's got a new project that just was released not too long ago.
Yeah, his Point Blank is doing gangbusters.
Wow, that is a very impressive game.
He got an 8.8 or 8.9 on Board Game Geek.
Moving up the charts real quick. So I think I gotta get it out, but
Tone,
I got you, Jester.
I'll tell you what, Tone, I did put a comment in. Sorry if it's coming to the UK, to the old country. Hope it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg.
We have a deal with Second Chance Games. So.
They're cool. They're cool. I'll be on that tippy tappy on Monday morning. Oi.
You better get on them. Find out what's going on with your copy. So,
really, because honestly, I hate to tell you this, but you were like the third name on the list, just the way it fell when we put it together. So you should have it already.
Oh, don't worry, I'll be on that. I'll ticky tap you Monday. Yeah,
Right.
thank you. Yeah,
Drop David's name if you have to.
Yeah.
I will.
And since Devin's eating, we'll go ahead and ask him a question. How's your game coming along?
It's done. We ran into just some slight delays. Yep. Tony's got a copy of it right there. He's got one of our one of the early production copies. It's in China. I think it should have started printing this week. There was a slight delay when we decided to add the 3D hill.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
David was supposed to send me that, but he never
I know
did.
that's because I did watch it. I did watch it.
You got it coming.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't say the key word.
Oh, lock and load. Yes.
Hey, everyone's ready. Carol.
By the way, I know Herman's not on, but I'm blaming him for my Sierra Nevada obsession now. He told me to go because there's one outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And me and my wife went. Great place to go. If you're ever in Asheville, that's a great place for dinner, food. And then the beer is just phenomenal too. So, but yeah. But no, that's a phenomenal game Devin put there. There's a lot of really, really good stuff in there. A lot of fun. I haven't run across the incompetent leader yet. I'm looking for it.
There's only a couple scenarios that I threw the incompetent leader in. So
I figured.
Stig,
what's going on? Good to see you, my friend. We're just talking about the solo module for
your favorite thing. I know you're keen on that. The solo module for Lock and Load Tactical, Stigler.
Absolutely.
Well, I got to play with Devin, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot from Devin playing Devin. And honestly, one of the coolest things is sometimes when you play games, like I've only played it a few times and I've lost a few times, but every time I have, I've learned something new. I learned how important it is to actually melee somebody as quickly as possible. If you're trying to save something, you need to do it.
We did notice that, Tone. We did notice that, yeah.
If you would have listened to me,
But now I'm stuck because I'm going to have to do the traditional Russian technique of sending a bunch of people across open terrain while being mowed down by a 7.92 machine gun.
It's called reconnaissance by fire.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll just send one squad out at a time just to get that fire to see if the AI bot will.
Well, see that's the trick that I do a lot of times is that if the opponent is in difficult or not difficult, obscuring or blocking terrain, and I never want to trust my dice to make a spotting attempt, so I got to either get a unit next to him or I got to trick him to fire at me. I'll start sending out single squads. Eventually, they're going to have to start reacting to those single squads. So either he does it early, and which he fires, and all right, now he's spotted, and I can unload all unholy hell on him, or he waits until I get next to him, which I've automatically spotted him at that point, and I can unleash all holy hell on him. So it's sending out the single squads is not a bad tactic. I do that all the time.
And once I got through the flow charts, I can find them. Now I just got to have them organized. I got to figure out a way to organize them so I can get them a lot faster. That's what's taking me the longest. Is like, okay, now what am I doing? Okay, which flow chart do I need? And so I think I just got to get them better organized so I know exactly which one to pull up.
But again, I think the more you play it, the more you'll speed up. It's like any game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. That's a really good system. So,
any thoughts of updating the other Lock and Load tactical games to the new edition with the cards and the new counters and all that? So
we had a thought, and the answer was no.
Okay.
And the reason was because, two reasons. One, the whole old system, we say the old system, the first version of the system was designed to work with anything and everything, because we didn't want everybody to have to buy a module for each thing. Due to the wonderful public and they're complaining about lack of setup, which we discussed early in the show before we started, we decided to change that. But the other couple of things we wanted to do, which I think Devin did a phenomenal, not Devin, excuse me. Devin, you are right. Devin did, was we added the ability to throw cards in there and enhance the offensive or defensive of the side. And also with the optional rules. Well, I shouldn't say optional rules, events or things that can go wrong in the battle. And we also gave the ability for anyone who wants a scenario design, there are cards in there that you can still make your own paragraphs and call those cards in there. So it's really a construction set. It's a game for 2 players, multiple players. It's a game for solitaire, and it's in a way a construction set. And so to do that, you have to make the solitaire available per game because you got to customize it to match the battle, whatever you want to do. And so we decided to stick it in the games. We felt it was easier that way.
I'll tell you what, when I pull that event card where the AI gets 2 activations in a row, oh my God, I get so irritated at that card. I'm like, and it's not even a way to get rid of it. It's not like, oh, roll a die and get rid of it. It's like, just discard in the pile. And then, of course, the next time you go and you pull another card, it's like, reload the deck. It's like, son of a bitch, I was trying to get out. Yeah, so those cards, those event cards really do add quite a bit of flavor to the solo deck, and I've been very, very, very happy with it. So you guys are doing a great job. I got 4 more turns, and I'm getting there. I'm seeing how it's going to go, so I'm excited about it. So.
Yeah, that scenario is the Russians have really got to move fast.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of territory they got to cross. It's 2 maps, but it's built urban and built up. And if you want to run through the streets, you're going to get shot up, but then you're going to get slowed down by moving through the building. So the Russians have really got to kind of a little bit gamble and try to move in areas where the Germans aren't to try to get down to the second board. Yeah, that one's a little rough on the Russians.
It was interesting because I had one of my T-34s, and I think it was the Martyr too. Yeah, they were like, so the Martyr sets up here in this hex, and then the T-34 came in the
like that, huh?
Boom! It's like, right, okay, get in the action right away. And yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, both of them missed the first time they played, so they shot at each other. So I was like, sweet. So yeah, that was pretty
my
good.
thing to you, Tony, is how do you feel the replay value is? Because that's what counts.
Oh, I think I could redo it because I don't know where. One is even if I use the setups, their setup's going to change because you have so many blank counters that are not going to be where they could change. Where the units are set up for the Germans are going to change every time you play. Yeah, you might have some that are very similar, but they're all going to change. And then where the Russians come in, since it's a die roll, you have if you go that route, you could all come in on one side, which will totally change how you go about the game, how the Germans will react. I've really learned how to use the cards to move the Germans. That was always hard when I was doing the Nations at War, the cards as well, like figuring out how they move, like which ones should I move. And now I think with the 1 and the 2, the alert level, so when you're adjacent or 2 hexes away, I think that helps a lot because that narrows down. Okay, if you're 1 hex away, you can look at the board and see if that's going to be something real quick, or if somebody's 2 hexes away. Once you're done with that, then it's like, okay, then it gets a little bit more, but like, okay, we got to move towards the target. Okay, well, let's see, what's a target that I don't have? Like, because this particular scenario, you have to take over more multi-hex stone buildings than the rest of them. So you can say, okay, well, the Soviets now have this one. This group's not in one, so I can move them towards that target. It started to fit a little bit better the more I played the cards and the more I read and kind of understood what I was looking at, the easier it was for sure. And plus, knowing the rules a little bit better for the game itself really helped. But I think I can replay it 4 or 5 times and have totally different, if not more than that.
I got to apologize for Tony. He's a little excited the Overlord is here today, so he's a little excited.
Yeah. And I think somebody mentioned in the chat right at the beginning, you don't have to call them sir.
No.
Oh, Tony, we love you,
Yeah.
man.
Can I show you what I've got?
Yes, I want to see what did Jester make you buy?
Bad. I've been bad, and it's not a war game, and it's down to people like Jester and
we all
other
like
things.
playing other games.
Is it Terraforming Mars?
Oh, I have that. Yeah.
Nemesis Lockdown.
Look at
Wow.
the size of that blooming thing. That's the size of the box, David, you should be using.
Yeah.
And
Our warehouse manager almost killed me when I went to 3-inch boxes.
and I managed to find that as well. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
that's got
Nice.
the minis for like the rover, and the doors are all model doors and that. So yeah, went a bit silly, but It looks so much fun. I'm going to be using the old slap and drop technique they've been talking about, painting them. So, see if we can get them on.
Is Lock and Load still putting customer faces on counters?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We
I noticed
take
that
randomly
myself,
off the
Ruff,
platform.
and Tony, we don't have our own counter yet.
Here's the rules. All you got to do is put your face like this, maybe from chest up, onto our forums. There's under Lock and Load Tactical is a place there. I think it says for being on the counters.
Yeah, it's get your face on a counter.
And you tell us what countries you might want to be in. We don't promise you anything. We don't promise you your ratings or anything else. It has to fit the game. And you know what? You could be on a counter too.
But still waiting for Mo to step out so I can shoot him.
No, Jester, I think we're officer material, don't you?
I know so, Ruff.
Give me a sergeant. I'm a sergeant. Give me a sergeant.
We want to be on the British, don't we, Ruff?
Oh God, yes. Oh, blimey, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the leader counters are already laid out for Grenada. Those are already done. The Chinese module that Nicolas is working on, the leader counters have been laid out for that. However, we do have a Kohima module that Mike Nagel is Mike working on? Yeah, okay. Mike Nagel's working on that one. He's working on Kohima. The counters have not been laid out for that. So if you want to be British in that, we could probably work in on that. There's also Pegasus Bridge, which the playtest map and the scenarios are done for that. We just haven't started laying out the counters for that yet. So that could be
another one of yours, isn't it, Devin?
Yeah, that one is my design. That one is specifically my design. And let's see what else. That's really what we've got kind of in the queue right now. So there is an opportunity within the next year for you guys to get on leader counters if you want. And I'm not saying this just as ID, Ruff, and Tony. Again, like David was saying, go to the Lock and Load forums. Go to get your face on a counter.
Anybody can do it, can't they?
Anybody can do it. If it looks like someone that we could use in one of our games, then and if you get us a good enough photo. Again, David,
is it thoughtful or do you want excited, frightened?
It could honestly, it could be an action pose. If you're just kind of like this, that's boring. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be overly.
Put a bit of character into it.
There you go. That works.
Yeah, exactly. ID, what he was doing, we could get.
I want to get my scar in. Can I get my scar in?
We can put it on the wounded side of the counter.
Hey, there we go. I like that.
But so like for mine, I'm kind of looking off into the distance for mine. So, we prefer personality.
Be
to
creative.
The images.
Is what you're
exactly.
saying.
Exactly. Yeah. And make sure it's well lit with natural light. I mean, that's the most important thing that the artists have to have is it has to be with natural lighting. So
So go outside and take it, basically.
Or have an open window right next to you, which is basically what I did.
Like that, yeah.
Or use a daylight lamp. So,
Right.
Yeah, we've had people send us pictures they're on a roller coaster. And we what to do with that.
That's an ongoing joke. Sorry, guys. That's he didn't know the difference between
Stigler said Dan Peccotti's Italian officer counter was great.
Yeah. The other one is his grandfather.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
from Dan's from an actual photo from his father and his or his grandfather in his World War II Basaglieri uniform. So our artist didn't have to do anything with that one. It was just like, all right, pretty much straight from the picture. He didn't have to worry about doing up the helmet or anything. That was the actual Basaglieri helmet that his grandfather was wearing and everything. So
that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Hey, ID Justice, someone asked something about a wing and a prayer, and I missed it. Sorry.
Oh,
vassal module.
Is there a vassal module? So this unfortunately, this game doesn't get a lot of love. You don't see many. I did some videos on this, giving this game some love a couple years ago. I really think it's kind of like
it's getting a
gem out there.
Well, it's getting, I shouldn't say redo, it's getting an overhaul, I guess is the proper term. One of our fans, and there's another gentleman, I forget his name, was also working on the Mediterranean edition. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine both games into one, but we're also going to change quite a bit of it. where you're going to have different types of movement, different types of combat. It's, in a way, I'm going to say this loosely, but nobody hold me to this. It's kind of like, what is it, B-17, Queen of the Sky?
B-17, Queen of the Skies.
Meets Winging the Prayer.
Okay.
So will we call it Winging the Prayer? I don't know. I haven't got that far yet. But to answer the question directly, is there going to be a vassal module?
Yes.
I don't know, actually. I don't think so because
you're changing it so much.
Yeah,
we're changing it so much and so many, I only got eliminated a bunch of guys to spread around.
Right. I mean, I always thought it was a really good game, and it was fun. It was not too complex. You could sit down and play a couple hours. You have a whole campaign done. So I thought it was pretty good.
The biggest problem with that game is its footprint. And at the time when we designed it, I really didn't care about that. I wasn't thinking that would be an issue. But a lot of the guys who play solitaire board games travel a lot, has to fit in a suitcase, has to be able to fit. And it actually was the hotel tables that killed me.
Yeah.
So what we did was, the first thing we did was we squeezed the whole map, because there's really one counter in the whole map. It's that your squadron. So we made it a very small map or maps, and then one count, and everything else can be played off to the side. So the footprint's going to really get reduced.
Yeah, because you just need to know which location your plane is in, or your squadron, or whatever. Yeah. So
JTJ had a good question. There is there any Polish lock and load tactical modules on?
Not in the queue right now, but that doesn't mean that there can't be or won't be. At the end of the day, you're looking at him. I'm lock and load tactical. I mean, we've got a couple other people who have graciously wanted to design modules. Mike Nagel's one of them. Who's doing the Goodwood module? We've got a guy working on a Goodwood module. We've got several people who have put input, who want to work on modules. But right now, it's just kind of me. So I don't have any plans for it because I've got like a half a dozen modules. I mean, I've got Pegasus Bridge. We've got the Ukrainian module we want to do. We want the Heroes of Paratroop boots to do. I mean, there's a lot of projects in the queue that we want to get done. If you want to design a Polish module, and I think that would be great. I actually love early war, World War II. I prefer playing up to like 1942 rather than like 44, 45. I know 44, 45 gets the most love because that's where the big cats are, the Tigers, King Tigers, Stalins, just all the big heavy ordnance. I kind of prefer the early war stuff because everything was kind of on the same par. You have like, the Polish, what was it, the TK-11s versus like Panzer IIs. And they're basically almost identical stat-wise to each other. So everybody's kind of on the same foot. And I love that. So no plans at the immediate moment, but that doesn't mean we won't have them at some point. And if you want to design, reach out to me. And I can tell you and start guiding you through the process of how to do that.
Ooh. And they do have, if you're got the digital version, they have a design your own scenario, random scenario in there, so you can start throwing ideas together and practice and seeing how it plays your scenario. So David, I think if I decide to send you my beautiful face, I think that deserves to be on the front cover of one of the boxes. I'm just saying.
No, you're going to be in competition with me, this mug here, look. It needs a lot of work. A lot of
I think we're gonna have the first box with 2 liters on it.
There you go. It's possible.
Jay's going to take you up on that offer, Devin.
Brilliant.
I can't type in. Jester, if you want to go ahead, devinh@lnlpublishing.com. Email me at that. Put that up if anybody has any inquiries or wants to reach out to me. That's my email address. Just reach out and pitch me your idea, and I can guide you with what we're going to need from you, and can help you through the design process.
If I can just copy and paste this.
I know we're still working on that Axis Allied Miners module that I've talked to you about.
I thought you were doing that for ATS.
Well, I am, but
But
right-
Oh,
I think-
here we go.
I think
Here we go.
I kind of
Right.
think that I honestly, the way Critical Hit runs their stuff, I could probably submit it and never getting done. And I may still do that. But I actually found how awesome the Romanian anti-tank weapon is. It's honestly the best in late World War II. It's nuts. It will go through anything. It has a huge penetration value. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. So and so yeah, I'm like going, I don't know. I'm still thinking I might take a Devin up on that because I think it might actually get done. So
get done. Give you a solitaire system for it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
it's like
just
I have
put it out
about
there.
the nice thing is I think I could actually do it because there's sometimes the Russians gets involved with Romanians and the Hungarians. Those are the three sides.
well, see, and the biggest thing that you should do it, and this is the biggest reason anybody should do a Hungarian game, is the Zarini self-propelled gun. I love the Zarini. If you can work the Zarini in, we will make it happen. Because the Zarini's just an awesome, awesome pancake self-propelled gun.
And Tony, just one last thing I can tell you, and maybe this could be you.
Yeah, I got my mug on a
Look
beer.
at that.
Ooh,
That's
I don't know if I want to drink out of my face.
No, you're drinking out of Devin. That's not right. That's weird, man.
Listen, if you think this is the weirdest thing that goes on behind the scenes here, buddy.
All right.
You're missing
All
out
right.
a lot.
Here we go. It's time to get down to nitty gritty now. Forget this lock and load tactical nonsense for
Oh,
a
no,
minute.
it's Tony not said it right.
We want to talk about nations at war, buddy.
Ooh.
Nations at war. What in the hell is going on? Why is this one getting put in the back?
Yeah, it keeps getting
What
put
is
back.
going on with that? We need to get some more. I mean, I got so many. I got all of them, and I'm waiting for more, and you won't provide it. Why?
Here's the deal, okay? Sean is hopefully going to be, that will be Sean's next project. It'll be Tigers in the Snow. I think that's what we're looking for. The major change was we have decided, because of the computer game, believe it or not, that the guys who are doing the computer games bailed on us. I can't say anything else because it won't be very Christian of me. So, all right. We have a new team, same team that's doing the lock and load tactical computer game, rewriting everything because I didn't want to, basically tell the computer owners tough. And one of the things that we knew during discussions was that whatever we do on Nations at War would be easily convertible to World at War 85 on the computer. Now, how does that affect the board games? Well, all the numbers on World at War 85 are in different locations because it was done second. So we changed all the positions of all the numbers on Nations at War. Okay, so it matches pretty much what World War 85 is. Okay, so how does that delay us? It really hasn't at this point. Sean was doing point blank. Okay, and again, I think he did an excellent job on that.
Definitely,
and-
I agree. Ruff would agree if he'd get the game. But
Yeah, I'll let you know.
It's coming. And we're gonna add some more rules to it, or change some rules to it, and update it. And the new version will be, let's call it 3.0, 4.0. I'm not even sure what version we're up to yet. But it will be. It might even not. Some people may not even consider it to be in the same Nations at War ever, system. But it really is.
Yeah, because if you've got the originals, that's it. They are as they are. So when you bring out the new ones, that's
So we're not going to go backwards and fix anything or address anything. We've done all
nothing
that
wrong
already.
with them. There's nothing wrong with them.
So we're just going to keep moving forward with it. So that's what's coming next. I don't know if it'll be the next game out the door. Part of the issue is if you have, let's just say, White Star Rising. This is the debate Sean and I have. What new units would you get if you had Tigers in the Snow and it's a bulge game, for argument's sake? Because technically all the units are the same. Okay, so you have to, map will be different. So, that's some of the things we're wrestling with. You play World at War 85, the Soviets don't change. We're working on the third game right now. And the Soviets are going to be changed somewhat, but not a lot. So that's part of it all. And I think a lot of it has to do with the excitement of the battles and what you pick in, and
also with
weather and stuff like that.
With World at War 85, it's 85-ish, so things don't change that much, really.
Right.
Yeah, not a problem.
Well, and honestly, so for Nations at War, really, they're self-contained boxes. Other than the compendium, they're self-contained. There's no mixing. You don't have to have Stalin's Fury and White Star Rising to play scenarios.
Unlike our other favorite, Panzer Grenadier, where you have to have so many sets to play.
5 or 6 different modules to do it.
Crazy.
Yeah. So changing the next module really won't be a big hassle for anybody that's got the other ones. At least in my
especially if you've got
opinion.
World at War, because they'll be in the same position.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason is the computer programmer, basically threatened physical harm if I didn't do that, because it would just drive him crazy trying to keep everything in his head, which I don't blame him. I mean,
yeah, that makes sense.
And plus, a lot of the computer cells, they kind of drift over to the board game inside, and if it doesn't match, I can see that causing all kinds of problems here.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of World at War 85,
yes.
when do we get the polls?
There's a lot of Polish love out there today.
I tell you what, the
Wow,
Poles are great. It's like you like the Ukrainians and the Lithuanians and all that. Yeah, they're just cool.
The next World at War 85 will be, I can't remember all these titles.
And
Never Give In.
They keep changing on the names on us so often.
Yeah, Never Give In will have the French in it. I don't think the Poles are in that yet. And I think the game after that will be America Breached. So I don't know. I don't think Nicholas has Poles in there, but I will ask him. I mean, he's still basically breaking out all the units that's going to be in the game. And if these guys had their way, I would have 25 to 40 counter sheets per game.
Well, why don't you?
Why don't you? You don't have to clip them.
Yeah. Well, the biggest problem is
you don't have to clip them.
Surviving the shipment.
Yeah, one of these. That's what you want. One of them.
Yeah.
So talking about the stuff we heard from Devin, that Bit of Harvest should be with us hopefully by Christmas. Yes.
Yeah, I would think there's a very good chance of that.
What about Blood and Fury?
Blood and Fury is a little behind. Okay. Basically, Keith is just making sure everything is perfect. And I saw a fury of emails yesterday from Keith and Blackwell going back and forth.
Yes.
So they're just getting the production stuff laid out. You'll know how fast it's going when you see the production, the prototype in my hands.
Right.
Okay. Because once the prototype's in my hands, unless there's something wrong, which really hasn't been, we had a little thing with the counter tray for Point Blank, and that was fixed with literally one email. So it could go very quickly. Will it get there by Christmas? We're in October. I doubt it. That would be really pretty.
I'd be impressed. Yeah, I'd be pleased as well. But we'll see. Maybe sort of first quarter of next year.
Yeah, it would be early next year because it'll be before the Chinese New Year's, I would expect.
Oh, that's not too bad then, because that's usually February.
Yeah.
So that's usually not too bad. That'd be awesome. Sitting here in February in the cold in the winter and just knocking out some British tanks with some Russian stuff. Yeah, that'll be real good.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
What do we think about Point Blank? Any expansions or anything coming out for that?
Sean is working right now on giving me what I call my bribe sheet. Okay. He tells me what he wants and tries to bribe me into doing it.
Okay.
So he'll tell me how many cards and how many scenarios, and again, this is not official, so again, no one can call me on it. We're thinking of calling it First to Fight, okay, which will have the Polish in it.
Oh, right.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Get
Early
it.
warning allies stuff.
Will you need the core game to play the expansions? Would it be like that, or they each be standalone?
I think again, this is part of the bribe list I haven't got yet.
Okay.
But if it could be just a standalone when you need it, but it may not be. But it won't be as massive as the Point Blank. I mean, Sean and our goal when we made Point Blank was to give you guys everything. Okay,
Right.
I didn't want to follow. I won't name any games because I don't want anyone getting pissed at me. But here's one little section with 10 scenarios, and here's another little section with 10 more scenarios. We wanted you to have it all in there. We thought of doing a Battle of the Bulge version of Point Blank, but again, same thing came up. We talked, Sean and I, and Sean says, all the cards are already in the game. There's nothing to add in Point Blank, weapon-wise, squad-wise, that's not there. So we're thinking of making a Battle of the Bulge scenario pack.
Yeah, if you've got the stuff, just do like you do with Nations at War, and
Right.
just bring out the compendiums, maybe. Yeah.
So that is the plan there for that. Well, that's the discussion plan. When Sean gives me the stuff, we'll sit down and go over that.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yes, you did hear polls. We were talking about that. So,
yeah.
Farnley, they're going to give the
And
polls.
Sean's really big on the polls. He really has been pushing for the polls. So I cannot see how they're not going to be in there.
That'd be good.
Yeah, even in my talkings with Sean, it's like one of the first things he wants to do is one of the first expansions, whatever we call it for Point Blank, is he wants to make sure that the polls get in there for the 39 fighting.
Right on. Yeah.
Nice,
so here's the deal, guys. Give Point Blank as many ratings in Board Game Geek. That seems to be Sean's,
impetus.
Yeah, and he has that, and he's working on hopefully what will become possibly Tigers in the Snow for the new whatever we call it. We'll call it Nations of War game. We do have the gentleman. What was that game you guys said you had to have all the different pieces to?
There's several of them. Panzer Grenadier.
Yeah.
Panzer. Right. One of the gentlemen who designed one or two or three of those modules, I forget his name off the top of my head. I bought all the rights to his Pacific and I believe Korea versions of that. Orders of battles, the maps, the scenarios to put into Nations at War. The only reason we really haven't done that was because of the World at War, the computer game, and all the changing. And as much as it sounds like a fast-moving ship, the things like, molasses in the cold weather uphill, it doesn't go as fast.
Oh, so how our parents went to school.
How I went to school. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you young thing, Tone. Get out of here. Yeah.
Really. He's been teaching 7 years. He was telling us before the show. I'm like, 7 years? You only got 23 more, man. Point Blank Pacific would be nice. I know, right? We never.
I agree. Sean is not as keen. I mean, he's more keen on the polls than he is on the Pacific.
Oh, I was going to say Nations at War Pacific or something, So
I think you should come up with a list, narrow it down on your side, and then send me the list, and then I'll have our viewers narrow it down and give back to you what you
see what they want. Yeah.
Because you really want to produce what the people want, not what Sean wants.
We used to try that, and then I realized how fickle the people were.
No, I'll tell you what. Our crowd are good, aren't they? Our crowd.
Right, our people.
Yeah, they're great.
Our people will solve your problem. I've been talking about with Errata, and I've got a video probably coming out about that and how to fix it for board gaming.
Oh dear.
Well, I'll tell you how we fixed it. We fixed it by we limited how many people can look at the game, believe it or not. And what we found that happened mostly in Nations at War, recently, when you have the errata and the upgrade kits and all that, was partially we inherited it from somebody else. okay, the company, the games. And we didn't realize the level of a Tiger tank in one game. Honestly, we just assumed was the same in other games, and it turned out not to be the case. Now, why it was changed, if it's in the desert and it's breaking down more, you could understand the change of that. But an 88 caliber gun is an 88 caliber gun, right? Doesn't quite really matter where it is too much. And it wasn't the case. And it kind of caught Sean and I by surprise. So part of the problem was also, if you look at something so many times, okay, you don't look at it thoroughly the same way. I don't care who you are. And I've heard this from literally Mark Herman and I have talked about it. I've talked to other guys. You just don't catch it all. Okay, because you start reading it almost like you're glossing over it, even if you're not trying to do that. So now we kind of changed that where a certain person won't look at something until we think it's perfect. Then we give it to them. And you're still not going to catch everything. Okay. And it's also a level of understanding too. And take a rules, Tony might understand something on a way. Sean and I write a rule book 9 out of 10 times the way we mean it. Rough Swordsman might only figure it out 7 out of 10 times.
Oh, hold on a minute. What you're saying, David?
So, he's insulting the host. He's calling you dumb.
Right. I guess he's seen you play.
Yeah, he's calling me thick. I don't like it.
So what we found is, the people's understanding of the rules are different. And it's very hard for you to get everybody's understanding in there. I mean, Sean and I went through that rule book. I know the other guys went through the rule book. Devin went through the rule book. Keith went through the rule book. And there's still questions that now when the question's asked to us, we say, I guess that really wasn't as clear as I thought it was, or he thought it was, or, oh, we didn't state that. We probably should put it there as a clarification. Those type of errors, I don't believe you're ever going to change because you got different levels of understanding, concepts, other games in the back of their heads.
One person's rule is another person's gobbledygook. So,
yeah.
you're not going to get
counter-wise and map mistakes. The gentleman who did what's that game that's out there now? The Gettysburg game.
Fearful
Sacrifice.
Right. The artist who did that game, him and I had talked quite a bit, and we were talking about proof in the map, and he had told me joking because the worst mistake I ever made was I spelled Gettysburg wrong on a map once, and no one caught it. Because you just the whole thing was you're just not looking for that. You're looking for, hey, is this course spelled right? Are all the numbers the same? Did I get the identification right? So we just kind of changed the process, and it goes through the whole process. The guy is doing the layout, kind of knows what he's looking at. He's not a wargamer expert, but he's great at what he does. It goes back to someone like Devin. Devin goes over it. We never even show it to Stefan, who's definitely by far the eagle out of the group here. Okay, and then Stefan gets it. And dear God, we've actually had drinking games. How many more times do you think we're going to do this? No exaggeration. And Devin will probably start crying. I'm sorry. We were doing the locking with tactical cards, the latest ones we had done for the latest version. Devin and I figured, 15, 16 revisions, I think we up to 40 or 30. What was it? It was some incredible number.
Oh, yeah, it was like 35, 40. But what was even worse was when we were doing the 5.1 rule book. It's up to revision 75 now. 65 of those were when we were first putting it together with Stefan 2 years ago. We literally went through 65 revisions of the rule book with Stefan catching and having us change stuff. And the problem was I couldn't sit there and say, no, he's wrong on it. I would have to look at what he wrote, sit back and go, yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Damn it.
Right. But yeah, Stefan is, and someone was mentioning earlier that professional proofreaders are worth their weight in platinum. Mike was saying that, and Stefan is worth twice David and I's weight in platinum when it comes to proofing. He
is just priceless with that. I mean, I hate to say this, guys, you would have a lot more suckier game if it was just Devin and I doing it.
Well, the problem with rules and a lot of the proofreading is that your brain gets in your own way. Because your brain will put in the words that are not there. Or the problem is they'll flip the words around and think it means this and say, you flip 2 letter words around and all of a sudden means something totally different.
But it's the same. When you read a rule book, Tony, it's the same, isn't it? You read it through once, and then you read it through again. You're not reading it; you're skimming it.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So we like I said, there's certain people on our team or staff we don't
Have
show.
to read
They're not
every word.
allowed to look at it until we think it's perfect, and then we realize how wrong we are. And we fix it.
I was going to say, you got to realize that part. At one point, you got to realize that part. So, yeah.
But even with Stefan, there's still going to be things trickling through. It's just inevitable. It's just is. But with him, you stop 99% of them because he is.
It goes back to a philosophy. I one of my old roommates that I used to have was a programmer up at Microsoft, and he would always say that 1,000 people will find more bugs in a game in 10 hours than 10 playtesters will find in 1,000 hours. So a lot of stuff doesn't get caught. I mean, and I will have to say that Stefan does a fabulous job. But even still, stuff gets by Stefan and stuff gets by our final proofers that we wouldn't even think of catching it until it gets out to the mass public. And that just because it's more eyes on the product. Is there anything we can do to fix that? I don't know. It just is what it is.
So,
I mean,
take 10 years to release the game. You might do it,
Well,
that's
part of the problem is a lot of playtesters don't think playtesting is work. They think they get to play the game, and that's playtesting. And it's
don't even get me started on playtesters.
You're supposed to play test to try and break it, aren't you? That's your thing. You're supposed to keep playing it and see if you can crack it. And that's why I can't do it, because you have to do it. You have to play the game 50 times or whatever the amount is and try and break it.
It depends on what you're trying to play test. I'll give you an example. There's certain guys who look for the grammar and rule continuity. That was a problem too. Same meanings were being used in different terms throughout the old rule books. That was one of the things that Stefan really forced us to change. And, the publisher also has to be smart enough, and I like to say this, we were, and we made Stefan, we gave him the final say on what terminology was. And if he ever brought something to us, we didn't like that, we would discuss it, and sometimes we decided to go left, sometimes we went right. But Stefan had the ability to do that. So the game has now a really streamlined glossary, I guess is the term I'll use. But then you got play testing, a proofing of counters, which is different than proofing of rules. And then when you pass proofing of counters and rules and tables, I guess that will fall in that category. You have the proofing of the scenarios, and that more is play balance.
Yeah.
But if you have to take that scenario and you can't find the answer to your rules or to your questions when you're setting up or playing or something else, fundamentally, you've got a problem.
Yeah. You have to go back and start again, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't envy you guys. I really don't. We're grateful you do it. And I'm pleased you don't bring them out once a week, because that's it. I'd be bankrupt. But, we are grateful. We are grateful for all the game publishers and developers and designers and that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it is very hard. Yeah.
I literally don't know how Compass and Decision do it. I don't. The sheer weight of material they put out is awe-inspiring, honestly. I just can't figure out how they do it.
Errata.
Yeah. Hey, errata sheets. That's how they do it. Yeah. And stickers.
Yeah. Well, that is not a real good answer, but yeah. I mean, you do what you got to do, I guess, to get things by.
Yeah. When you finished, I just want to ask David and Devin something.
Go ahead. It's all yours.
I was going to say the naval game. Oh, the 620 type thing. Oh. Before Christmas?
It might be New Year's, but it's going to be close. No, it's
Okay.
our schedule for we fundamentally changed the way we're publishing. We're going to basically do a Kickstarter or GameFound, fund it, God willing, publish those games. We're not publishing if we only fund 1,000 copies. We're not printing 2,000 copies. We might print, honestly, 1,100 copies. For two reasons. One, warehouse.
You sold them.
Well, the problem is the warehousing space is becoming a problem, and the fees and inflation is making it. We are paying double warehousing costs than we did less than 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And in which case, I got to assume that if it's affecting us, and it's got to be affecting you guys. If you're buying, let's just say you're buying 12 games a year, ID Justin. Yeah, we can't even talk about him there. Yeah, I've never seen someone with so many games.
He's got another box there. Look.
Got another box, but
if you're buying 12 games a year, you might be down to 8 or 10. In which case, then we got to fight for more room, and then that game's might sit in the warehouse. But we plan to have everything pretty much ready to go from the printer. I mean, our next game out the door is going to be Glory Empire First Victories. It's a Napoleonic game. And honestly, it's 100% ready to go to the printers. And I believe this week their printer is getting the prototype files. I think we're already there for that. That's going to go up. And the second that gets ballooned, hopefully, and everything's good, we're just going to tell the printer to start printing.
And as long as GameFound doesn't stop kicking the submission process back to us, but that's a whole other discussion.
But it's still better than.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you as a UK.
Sorry, is it still better than Kickstarter?
Yes.
Kickstarter. Again, I have a lot of issues with. I have the politics of Kickstarter has become. Well, it's public news, so I can't say anything that's going to get me in trouble. They have unionized, or I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, and they now have policy that the union can stop any project that they don't like.
Oh, they're gatekeeping it. That's what they're doing. Yeah? Right.
So if there's a very handsome gentleman on the screen that's on a box cover that's a German.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a black uniform.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what,
even though it's
Panzerwerfer,
not SS uniform.
Yeah, they don't
differences.
Do you know how much of a stink up we had on Steam because of that? Okay, and because we called it Heroes Road, what was it, Heroes Road to Stalingrad?
The original was Heroes Road to Stalingrad. Yeah.
And then, of course, we have people telling us how many gypsies the Nazis killed on the way to Stalingrad. I don't even know those statistics. It was just not worth the aggravation.
Right.
So
and from a mechanical standpoint, GameFound is just much more friendly to operate and use. So, for example, you have stretch goals on both Kickstarter and GameFound. The problem with Kickstarter is if you hit a goal, the developer themselves have to manually go in and switch a button saying we've hit this goal, so this is unlocked. GameFound, it just does it automatically. It tracks it as soon as it hits the goal that you've set it for. Boom! It automatically.
Well, that's how I thought it would work anyway. You put in your stretch goals, and you'd think the program would sort it out.
No,
Kickstarter doesn't do that. Yeah. So, and there's just a lot of.
It doesn't do any of the late pledging. It doesn't do any of the confirming your address and taking the shipping afterwards. And the only mess up, and it's not a mess up for them, is what we were able to do in the past was we made a whole bunch of games. We cut a deal with a company in the UK or in EU, or it was the same actually back then. We would send them all the stuff and not cover, but pay, I guess, a less of VAT or whatever, however that VAT was working back then. And then it would be a lot cheaper for everybody else. Well, now, because we're using GameFound, the EU requires them to collect the VAT up front. And they cannot discount it, or we cannot say, hey, don't collect the VAT, we'll do it this way. So technically, all the EU customers, not the UK customers yet, are getting somewhat, I'm not going to use the word screwed, but they're paying the VAT up front, and there's nothing we can do about that. Okay. And I didn't, for World at Wording 5, I did not word that, and I'll say I, because I am the face of the company. And there's a few very pissed off EU people because they didn't expect to pay VAT. And again, it was not worded right from the initial pledge to the late pledge.
See, I thought that if you shipped it en masse to what they call it, a forwarding company like Second Chance or wherever it is in Germany, you don't pay the VAT because you're not sending it out to individuals. They are sending it out in the UK to individuals.
Right, but they have to pay a VAT to get the game in the country regardless. It's not the same as me shipping the game to someone in the UK. So and that's why I don't send you the games directly, because I cannot guarantee what you're going to get charged.
Yeah, I've had that before. UPS knocking on the door, £56, please.
And that's what we got screwed in Canada. Not this game, but the game before this one, because FedEx said, "Oh yeah, it's all included. We filled out all the paperwork. We paid the money. We shipped the games," and all the Canadian guys were getting knocked on the doors with. Sometimes it was, $30. Sometimes it was $70. Sometimes it was as much as the game. There's no structure. It's whatever custom guy you get, to decide what.
Yeah, it's like
so it's
Yeah.
Now, do you think also, since Kickstarter is kind of like an all kind of anything, that GameFound is strictly focused more on board games, so they have a little bit more understanding of that industry?
Yes.
I think everyone looked at how sucky Kickstarter was doing it myself, and just said, how can we make it better? And that's actually why Back a Kit and a lot of those other after the Kickstarter's over companies came up.
Okay.
And then they just, Back a Kit now also does crowdfunding. Okay. GameFound, they kind of did it from the ground up. I personally think that's the best option right now, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the only option by far.
Okay.
So
I was just curious because they're called GameFound, so my assumption is that they
do
pretty much focus on games.
GameFound only does games. Kickstarter will do anything that you can come up with, but GameFound primarily focus, which is one of the reasons why their submission process is, I don't want to say stricter, but they have a sharper eye to what the gamers are looking for and what the gamers want and need. So it's more tailored because it is specifically gamers. And I just can't say what issues we've had with GameFound is nothing compared to the issues we had with Kickstarter. And I much prefer using GameFound.
And somebody's put in the comments, have you tried a P500 type of thing?
We put a P500 up. The problem with that is probably use some molasses uphill in the windstorm. This is molasses downhill in the windstorm.
Okay.
I don't want to wait 6 years for a game. That's what it comes down to. And I think it's,
yes, there's that too.
500 is just an arbitrary number, but when do I allocate resources to it to start producing it? And so I'd rather go the other route where we use it as an early list. Hey, put your name on the list, and the second that game is getting ready to get released on GameFound or wherever else, it's going to email you. So you're not going to not know about it. You don't have to worry about it. And you're not getting charged anything, which most P500s don't do. But I've seen numerous threads and talked to some people too that, it's been 6-7 years and, still waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take me 6-7 years to get to you in the queue. Either my queue is designed wrong or that game just doesn't have the pull it needs.
Right.
Yeah. Because some games go through not reaching 500 because the demand's there, so they'll rush them through. So yeah, it's difficult. I don't envy you. You guys.
Talk to me about this Napoleonic game now.
Yeah,
it's tactical.
Oh, it's free. I'll have a copy. Put me down.
Yes, It is free for the number of copies we currently have in stock. So
Damn you,
order
Devin.
it,
Damn
and you will get that copy.
What do we know
Well,
about it?
Let me ask you a question, Kurt. Can I share a screen for you or no?
You can share your screen. I have to approve
Okay.
it, but you can share your
Yeah,
screen.
just make
hold
sure
on.
it's none of that stuff you normally put up, David. All right.
Yeah. Can't have that on the channel. So,
Dodgy stuff. Yeah, we get demonetized.
Oh, like your monetized.
all right, guys. Why we
video.
got David's looking that up. We got a few announcements coming up here on the channel. Our third anniversary is coming up. 3 years. We've been doing this every week for 3 years.
Need a drink.
So we're having that show.
It's actually been rough for every week because
That's true.
I've missed quite a few. I'll admit it, but Jester's missed them. But
I missed a few. My daughter was getting married and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you had to deal with like life-ending stuff, and it's I just go on vacation.
Anyways, we're doing it December 3rd will be our 3rd anniversary show. Let me make sure that is the correct date. December 3rd. Yes, I believe that is when we decided to do it this year for our 3rd anniversary. So I will be having game giveaways. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have
sing songs, bit of dancing on the table.
We're going to get everyone in the Christmas spirit, and we're going to have a good time. So make sure, mark it on your calendar, December
6th.
3rd.
December 3rd.
For the 3rd year. 3rd on the 3rd.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is. I see your
3
thing.
years, crikey.
Because I was listening to Jester on Thursday, and Herm talked about I want to get into a new Napoleonics, but a new system because all of them have been out. So you're kind of like, there's so much there. So, David, what do you have for us that's a new system that we can jump in and help your company out?
Mechanics and all that sort of nonsense. Level, yeah.
This is actually the Game Found page, and I'll let Devin talk about it because he is the guy behind the screen here. And Dev, you can kind of tell me, or you guys can tell me where you want us to stop. We're hoping that this goes live if we get Game Found to approve us. We did have some issues with some of the wording on the VAT and stuff, so we did fix all that. I'm thinking about November 8th. We're thinking election day. At least something will happen good in that day that everyone can agree upon.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. That'll be fun.
So, Dev, why don't you explain what this is?
Basically, what this is, the designer, Terry, is well known in the Napoleonic gaming community, especially when it comes to the La Bataille system. Terry actually designed the La Bataille de Moscova module. And basically, it got to the point, La Bataille is kind of like the ASL of Napoleonics. It is a lifestyle, and there are several iterations of the rules out there. And
I was about to say, at least ASL has one set of rules.
Exactly.
4 or 5, yeah.
La Bataille has 27 different rules sets.
Exactly. Basically, it got to the point where kind of like what happened with me with ASL Burnout. I got tired of giving birth to an accountant every time I played. Terry kind of felt the same way about La Bataille, and he decided he wanted to make a simpler, I don't want to say easier, because this is not an easy game. This is probably one of the most complex games that we at Lock and Load Publishing have done. Not to say it's overly complicated. It's just it's a slight step up from World at War. But it is a Napoleonics game. It is a battalion brigade level game, and this first one is going to be focusing on 2 battles in Portugal. What was Spain? Napoleon's ulcer. They called Spain Napoleon's ulcer, and this covers a couple different battles in the Portuguese side of the campaign. We've got 2 maps, and I think we've got 8 scenarios. Plus, with the stretch goals, we're going to get some hypothetical scenarios. We're going to know the map with an add-on. It is a percentile-based system, and mostly it comes down to a lot of the orders that you give out. Now, every turn, depending on what your command rating is, you roll a dice, you'll get the quote-unquote overarching orders that you can give to different divisions. However, each division can still do stuff. It's just this is where your focus is. It's more of a command focus game. And so it's like, all right, I want this cavalry to be able to charge this turn and get bonuses out of it. So I'm going to assign this order to them. Your other divisions will be able to do it. It's just you're kind of focusing your attention on these. When I played it with Terry, I think the most we ever had at any one time was like 3. And it's your Napoleonic rank and file. I've completely lost my train of thought. Percentile based, I said that it's all a morale. So when you're shooting at somebody, you roll a percentile for how much firepower you have. You look on the column and you'll get a morale check minus 10, minus 20, whatever. So you're always testing against the unit's morale. The good thing about it is
morale test, is that a D10? Is that a 2D12? What is that?
Percentile. It is a
What's a
percentile.
percentile?
All percentile.
Everything, the dice rolls are percentile, the morale checks are percentile, very, very granulated, which I think allows for a greater, wider range of results. And so a unit will eventually, as they take these morale tests, and if they fail these morale tests, there are several steps of morale loss that they will take that will slightly decrease them in capability each time they take it. So it's like degraded, disrupted, broken, routed. I mean, there are several different stages you go through. It's not like I fail a morale test, I'm running away. No, that's not happening. First time you fail it, you're disrupted, which means that's going to affect your future morale rolls. It's also going to affect your attack rolls. It's going to affect your melee rolls. But you can also recover from these through your leadership and command ratings and your rally tests, basically. So it's very hard. I don't want to say hard. Yeah, it's kind of hard to make a unit route. The couple times that I've played, I mean, I have seen units flat out destroyed, skirmishers usually, a couple smaller Jaeger battalions or brigades. But I've seen only like 3 or 4 formations actually full out route away from the battlefield. What happens is you get to the broken stage and then you start falling back, and which is kind of good because that puts you back in a safer position so you can try to rally to get your formation back into play. It's kind of bad though if that's where the main enemy focus is and you're pulling troops out of the line. Cavalry's in there, artillery's in there. There are 3 levels of rules to this. You've got the soldiers game, the commander's game, and the battalion game, and that's just how much realism, we'll use that word, realism, that you want to put into the game. So if you want a light Napoleonic game, you're going to play the soldiers game. If you want to get to the point where, all right, the wind aperture is going to shift the artillery fire by this, well, then you're going to be playing the most complex level game. So you've got multiple rule sets to tailor how complex you want to get. I think that's a phenomenal thing. I think one of the things that a lot of people run into with Napoleonics games is that they're either too easy or they're la bataille. So at least with this one, you can find where you're comfortable with and play that game. So, and I'd love to say, scroll down. Let's see if we can see one of the maps, David.
Well,
while you're doing that, I'm asking for me and Stigler, how solo friendly is it?
It is coming right here. It is coming with a solo assistant. That is very similar to.
Stop it, guys! Stop it now.
We take my wallet, please.
We want your wallets. And most of it is going to come down to you're going to have 2 types of solo cards. You're going to have your overall commander cards, which will decide these overarching divisional commands that you're going to be giving out. But then you're going to have the individual commands for the divisions inside themselves, and that's what you kind of see on the left-hand side of that. And again, it falls along with the Lock and Load Tactical Nations of War World at War solo system, where you have different parameters. So if red is highest priority, yellow is second priority, blue is the lowest priority, and you just follow the card down. If this parameter isn't met, move on to the next one, and so on and so on and so on. And that's going to be built right into the game. You don't have to kickstart it, or you don't have to stretch goal it. It is going to be part of the base game itself.
Terry loved that when you approached him about that.
Yes.
You guys are bonkers when you do your stretch goals. You know, you put all this stuff in, you put everything but the kitchen sink in it, and then with the new Lock and Load Tactical, you think, oh, as an afterthought, let's make some wooden 3D hills. We'll chuck them in as well. You know, you're bonkers.
Dave showed me those.
We
I was
love
like,
you for it. But we love
that's
you for
pretty
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is really awesome.
Can you scroll down so we can see what the map
But
looks
this
like?
looks fantastic. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay, so yeah, here you go.
Wait a minute.
We've got
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Let's zoom in on these counters. So these
4 counter sheets.
Just 4 counter sheets. Come on, David. You can do better than that. Come on.
Come on. I mean, that's for rookies, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I
Already
love
volume
about
one, guys.
the one thing I love about these counters, and Terry did all the counter work and all the map artwork himself, which I thought was just phenomenal because that saved us having to do it. The counters are uniforms, and so whatever division is represented, that is the uniform that you see on the counter, and I love that. It's one of the things I love about Napoleonic and American War of Independence and American Civil War is that the pageantry of the uniforms, and these are all reflected on the counters themselves. The counters are the uniforms of the regiment. So that
coming from Labatai, that wouldn't surprise me. Like,
well, yeah, Labatai had this.
That's part of Labatai.
But these counter, I don't want to toot our own horn, but these counters look better than Labatai counters.
Yeah, they do. Well, you counters
They
are
look
good
nice.
anyway.
That's for sure.
And you can kind of see the map there. The map is very done up in a period style. So you can't really see it with these photos, but these maps are just absolutely beautiful.
They look nice, yeah.
Individual trees drawn on there. If you go to you scroll up to one of the villages, you can see individual houses have been put on there in the period style.
Nice.
It's just, and one of the things that we're adding we're including with the add-on is that you can buy posters of these without the hex rows on them. It's just the map itself, and they're just
I'm signing
beautiful.
up. Sign me up for that one. Seriously.
Stop it now.
Art pieces. We're gonna have a VATS module, or not a VATS module. VATS. We're gonna have a Vassal module. We've already got a tabletop simulator module. I've been messing around with that a little bit, but yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful game, and I think it'll be a good. Yeah, it's like here's some of the.
Oh, look at that! Look, yes, we've got the buttons and things. Yeah. And
it's just absolutely beautiful. So I can't tell you what all the numbers are because I don't remember. The lower left-hand corner is the fire and the range, and then the lower right-hand corner is the morale based on a percentile. Then of course the numbers at the top are the formations, the first to the fifth. But yeah, and then just the uniform there. You've got your cannonades. You've got your individual leaders. We got 2 sheets of admin markers because Napoleonics have lots of admin stuff that you have. One of the things I do love about this game is that you don't have to worry what formation most of the time your brigades are in. Brigade commanders know if they need to be in open line or whatever. The only time you really have to worry about that is if, they're going to be doing a cavalry charge, I should probably put my guys in square formation. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about facing when you're moving, because sometimes when you play rank and file, it's like, you got to snake the formations around and then start breaking them up into line formation. It's like, no, it's just the brigade commanders know how to do all that. You don't need to tell them to do it. So facing isn't as important in this game. They know it's like, all right, the bad guy's that way, face that way, that type of thing. Lots of charts, again, percentile. Go ahead and scroll up. Go back to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Scroll up a little bit and zoom in. See, these are the fire tables, which I was kind of telling you about, and you can kind of see it's a little bit blurry, but how much your fire strength is at the top, and then you roll a percentile and then compare it to whatever the result is. So NE is no effect, M is just a regular morale check, morale minus 20, minus 25, 35, so on and so forth. And then you've got like 1M, that's going to be an automatic step loss plus a morale check. So yeah, at the core of it, it's just a percentile based system. Lots of modifiers. If you scroll down, you can see all these different dice. It's Napoleonics. What do you expect? So and like I said, it focuses on command control. You don't have to worry about supply too much. Thank God, because I hate supply. it's assuming that a lot of the things that you have to take care of at the battalion or brigade level in La Bataille, if this game is assuming the brigade commanders are smart enough to take care of that on
Exactly, Jay. Exactly. I keep
Why you do this to us?
You're
Right.
rotters.
because we love you.
Yes, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. Scenario
And we've got a lot of, like I said, a bunch of scenarios. The stretch goals are going to have some hypothetical scenarios added on it. We're going to have an add-on that's got another map and some hypothetical scenarios on it. But I'm excited for this. I really am excited.
What sort of price range we're looking at, Devin?
David?
Okay, if you're looking at the page again, I've lost it. Let's see.
Let me load it on David Street.
I'll be honest, I can't remember. So.
No, it's a thing people want to know, don't they? You know.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
It should start about $100 to $90 if it's the early bird.
Early birdie.
We're also
always miss that.
No, we're going to do something different. I never took that into consideration until some of you guys from England said, "Hey, we never make this." So we're going to start the campaign at 1 p.m. So no 10 a.m., 11 a.m. This way, it's 8 hours on average. We're ahead of you. So there'll be evening times for the UK and the Europeans, and it'll be 1 p.m. lunchtime for people in the US, give or take a coastline.
I'm freaking teaching. What am I going to be doing?
I'm
I'm just going to have to tell the kids to hold on. I need to.
Right.
Let me just get my phone out. Hold on,
The American education system goes down the tubes because Tony's got to order his game.
Yeah, due to people like you, Tony. That's why they can't read and write anymore.
You can tell them they get an extra boost in their grade if they.
And those are the people that are going to be producing our games and making all the errata. Then Tony, way to go!
They won't be able to say. They won't be able to write it like what I can.
God.
Again, these are all subject to change because I know it's not finalized yet. But we're going to have living cards, which will be our data cards that you guys are familiar with from our other games, which again are for the old eye guys and guys who just like to read or look at it.
Yep.
But on the back side, if we get to the stretch goal, it will have historical data on it as well. Okay, for the units. We're trying to get more people to give them the spiral bound books right out of the box. As most of you guys know, a lot of the spiral bound books are add-ons.
I love the spiral bound.
I think you're the only guys that do spiral bound books, rule books, and I can't do what Tony does. He gets his, he folds it in half. But it's nice to fold it out and lay it flat. No, I can't do that, Tony. I have to lay it out flat because I mank it up if I do that. I'll ruin the pages.
Tony's using a spiral bound right there, so
yeah, but I can't do the back-to-back thing because I'll mess it up. It'll just rip.
This is, by the way, this is my video project I promised you guys about the books. I'm working on that right now.
But yeah, what I was saying was you're the only guys I think that do the spiral bound rule books. Am I right?
Yes.
I don't think anybody else has.
No, they're great.
Yes.
Then the companion books.
What artillery overlays there?
Yeah, we're going to give them. I think the word is cellophane, but Devin can correct me. But they're going to have a clear cellophane, and they're going to outline artillery range, or I was teasing Devin calling it splatter pattern. Okay,
basically what it is.
And then basically what you can do is you put it over the guy that's firing, whether it's hex side or spine, and you can see what guy and what, I guess, range or what's going to get hit. Just a little added way of making it a little bit easier. You start to count in hexes and can you do this and
cool.
Do I actually have the cone of fire on this unit here?
Lovely. That's good because you normally only get that on like the vassal modules and things where you can click a button and put that up. That's brilliant.
And
what are scenarios? That's cool.
Okay, and then the historical information was going to be a stretch goal, but again, I have to rearrange these. I'm just waiting for the guys over at GameFound to be happy with how this is laid out. And then these are the add-ons. Again,
sorry, go on, David.
No, they're not necessary. If it says Canvas art print, it's a picture of the map with no hexagons on it. You can put it on your wall like a piece of artwork. Okay. If it says map, Okay, it's literally printed on canvas and rolled up. It's the same game map, same size. We didn't make it bigger because the map's already big. Well, the large map's already large enough. So, but it gives you it's a really nice feel to it.
Yeah, I do like. Yeah, and what are they going to be in the box? Are they going to be mounted or paper?
Right now, we're looking at paper. We discussed making them mounted. The problem is the shipping weight, and the shipping has become such an issue. Okay, forget the cost of VAT and everything else. You guys, everyone's complaining about. I just don't see why. I don't see the mounted map being that big of a deal. Someone really wanted what?
Stretch goal.
Well, again, if it's a stretch goal, then everybody has to get one, and a lot of people don't want the mounted maps.
There are some people that don't like them. Yeah, they prefer paper. Yeah, and some like both. Some like
they can
honestly,
buy a
I'd
paper.
rather have the canvas map. I think that to film that, just put some weights on the corners. And,
no, I think the canvas has got enough weight to lay flat. I think that.
It just lays perfectly flat on its own. Even after being rolled up.
I might have to add those on.
No, we were looking at doing the oversized, like the X maps for the canvas, but when it got to the point where the big map was over 6 feet by 4 feet, it's like,
what?
These are,
the floor.
Oh my god, that's crazy!
I can't be doing that.
It would have been like $80, and shipping and handling would have been insane. And it's like, nobody's going to be able to put this. It would reduce it to a convention piece, basically, is what it would be.
Yeah.
So
I'd love the canvas thing, but I'm going to put up with the old plexi and the old paper map. That'll do me.
And then there's an expansion. There's a what if expansion, which.
It's going to come with another map, which it goes onto the western edge of the Vermio map, and it's going to have a couple hypothetical scenarios because for some reason we wargamers love hypotheticals.
Yeah, why is that? Yeah, why is that?
Because we like tweaking with history.
Yeah, I think we just want more scenarios. I think
there's that too.
Somebody asked me if it's like not what did they say? Not fantasy, but like alternate history.
Alternate history.
I said no matter when you play these games, it's an alternate history.
Because as soon as you move
one dice, move one piece, it's an alternate history. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, and plus, yes, we do want to figure out different ways of doing something to see if something worked. Especially if it's talked about in history, like this could have been an option. Well,
if so and so had done this or that, this would have turned out different.
Yep.
But as you quite rightly say, as soon as you move a piece, roll a die or pick a card, that's it.
And make sure when you put the compass on the map, it's facing the right direction. Because that was the other errata in that video that Mike did the other day for that game that was released. The compass is facing the wrong direction.
It's upside down.
North is really to the west, not to the top of the map. So
here's a breakdown of some of the counters, guys. I don't know if you can read that well.
Oh, yeah.
Command range, efficiency, organization.
So this will be familiar to players of most war games. Could you have a sort of overall commander and then the leaders commanding their formations or whatever? Yeah. I do like them. I like the old sort of button-up thing in the middle. That's cool.
Yeah, I love the look of the uniforms, and like I said, it's the pageantry is what draws me into rank and file, Age of Industry warfare. So. But yeah, we've already submitted this to GameFound twice, and they keep kicking it back to us. We're hoping it'll get past them with this next time. We should be putting it in this week, and hopefully we'll have fixed everything that they had issues or problems with. So this will be coming to you on GameFound very soon.
Just out of curiosity, is it more like the legalese stuff that they're worried about for the setup?
Well, the first time was how we had worded how the VAT was calculated and when it was taken out. GameFound originally didn't do a very good job on their own website, and obviously we weren't the only ones that were getting hit with it. There were a lot of games that were getting hit with people complaining about when the VAT was being charged. Kind of GameFound's fault on that, but so they've kind of had us clean it up and clarify it a little bit. And then the second time was just because we didn't have enough information in the stretch goals, and they thought, well, since they're running these projects for us, they're invested in them doing well, so they kind of look at it and say, stretch goals need a little bit more information in it because the more popular the game does, the more money they make. So, I get, and since they are gamers and they only focus on games, they know what to look for. They know what gamers want to draw people in.
Yeah, they've been extremely helpful, accommodating, quick on the answers of questions. Honestly, I'm very happy with them. Running a game publishing company and working with them is very good.
Cool.
Can I just ask for us over this side of the pond now with this EU and the VAT? So what I've paid up for, say, Bit of Harvest, I've paid it and paid the shipping. Does that mean I would get another bill for the VAT?
Okay, I will never guarantee you won't, but I will say I really will not. I should not think you would. Okay. The thing that came up as a problem was GameFound added a line to, I guess when you go to finalize your order, it's after the whole raising the funds and everything. It's when you're going to put down your shipping, make sure it's correct and everything else. And there's a separate line for the VAT. So anybody
I didn't see that when I paid for it.
Well, if it's probably because it just started is what I think happened. I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to say that and be wrong. But from my understanding is now there's a line that says that there's a VAT. Here's the VAT. So you paid for the game, you're paying for the shipping, and now you're getting paying for the VAT. And here's the other complication is when you pay for VAT, you pay for VAT on anything that they call net. And what that means is the game's $100, you're paying VAT on the $100 for the game. Now let's move to the shipping. If the shipping is $50, you're paying another VAT fee on the $50 for the shipping. But here's the kicker. They only give you one total VAT price. And it threw some guys off because they say, hey, you're not even charging us the right VAT.
Because it's 20%, they're working it out and they're thinking, that don't work. Yeah.
Right. So they kind of figured it out. So we really did our best to explain that. And then if there's add-ons, that could add
more VAT. Yeah.
More VAT.
I've not seen anything for VAT. I've paid for the game. I've paid for the shipping. I've not seen anything else.
Well, again, I doubt it's going to affect you because, and again, I'm saying this based on whatever may change in the world. But
I don't even, again, it's like a nightmare for you guys, nightmare for us.
The way we're shipping to the UK, you shouldn't have to at all. At the same token, hey, Keith, okay, the EU, because GameFound's in the EU, they're required to take the VAT at the time. They're not required to take it for the UK because they're not part of the EU anymore.
Well, we still charge VAT. This is the thing. VAT is a EU tax. And when we left the EU, we should not have any VAT. But no, they've gone, hold on, we're going to lose some money here. So they've kept it on, the government. So
and the biggest problem that we run into as Americans is that we don't really understand the VAT because it's kind of some black magic economical voodoo stuff. You guys
we'll add
do
a bit
over there.
here. We'll put a bit there. We won't add it there, but we'll put it there. And
so
the thing that killed me was that you guys are getting charged VAT. Well, you guys do something different. Your prices always include the tax. Our prices never include tax. So,
yeah. When we pay for something over here,
and then you guys are getting taxed on shipping.
Now, if I still had a business, I could claim that VAT back, but I can't.
Right.
And that's the problem. People are now waiting over here in the UK for second chance games to get it because it might be cheaper. The only problem is you don't get all them lovely stretch goals.
Right.
Get the retail version.
That's not
we're not doing that. Yeah.
Oh, there's all in the boxes in the box.
If a stretch goal is achieved, it's going into every box
in the retail version as well.
In the retail version. So even if you didn't order a Kickstarter for Bit of Harvest, if you wait until after the late pledge is done, if for whatever reason you pick it up from a retail store, which it's never going to be in a retail store, it will have all the stretch goals included.
But I like to order it from you guys through GameFound because it's fun and you know you're going to get it first. And
Hi.
She's just come in. She's been out. She's been out to see. Been out to see Will Young, whoever that is.
Go. Sorry, the dog.
There he is. There's my lovely wife. Hey. It's David from Lock and Load and Devin from Lock and Load, and these two reprobates, you know.
Hello.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Yeah, she had a good night. Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Went out with our daughter to watch Will Young of all people. Why? Don't ask me. Anyway, sorry, Dave. Right.
The only difference is you're going to pay more money, $30, $40 average, if you don't crowdfund it, because we're giving the best possible rate with the crowdfunding. So
because the retailers are going to make their money, of course. So
right.
Yeah, sure.
So that's pretty much what we're doing. Now, someone's asking paying VAT on shipping. Yes, VAT, at least for the EU, and I'm sure it's for the UK too, but you pay VAT on anything that's net, is how it was explained to me. So the product is one product, and you're paying VAT on that, and then you're also paying VAT on the shipping. But there's only one line, so the VAT looks like one total, but it's actually based on two different things.
What they've done is added it up, done the 20% and put it in. So,
right.
But when they think you're not going to get VAT on shipping, they've done it on just the item. They've gone, hold on, that's a bit much. Yeah.
Right. So basically,
I know it'll be a problem.
We ship it to the UK. You're probably not going to get hit with the VAT because of the way we do it going to the UK. Okay. So, but I can't guarantee that because, I guess your guys' way of doing this is very loosey-goosey, to say the least.
Yeah, we shouldn't even have VAT anymore. But they're going to lose.
What government's ever going to say no? We won't take the money. Well,
no, we're not going to get rid of that
tax.
What do you mean? Even though it was a European Union tax and we're out of the European Union, no.
Well, you mean we're just keeping it for us? We're keeping it for us now.
Yeah, shush. Don't tell anybody. We shouldn't be charging it.
Well, anyways, the game looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, but it's important for people over here and in Europe, the VAT.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, it does look cool, that game.
It does. And, it would be really cool to get it. And it's going to be the next one out, huh?
Yes.
It should be the next one out. And then the one after that is going to be JU87 Stuka Ace. Another Devin developed game. It's done by Cortado, who's the designer of many games. But for us, he did Space Infantry and Space Infantry Resurgence. It's a solitaire game. I don't know.
Can you play a solo?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a solo game.
It's completely designed
Now,
solo.
Can I be the devil's advocate here?
Of course.
What's the difference between your game and the DVG Stuka? I'm sorry, it's got to be said. It's got to be said.
It's a valid. Yeah, well,
Gotta be said.
exactly. It's
Same color of cards.
All the card backs should be the exact same color.
All right,
okay?
get over it.
I'm just
come
saying.
on. It was a serious question, guys.
Saying.
Get out of it.
First of all, you have to understand. All of a sudden, there seemed like there was a dirge of Stuka games that all of a sudden were announced and released at the same time. There's like 4 of them that are coming out within the next year. I will have to say, we started working on JU87 Stuka Ace before the pandemic. We weren't working on it real fast. So all of a sudden, DVG's announcing, Compass has got theirs. There's another one out there. And it's like, we should probably step up the production on this one a little bit. So we've been working with Gotardo on this for like 2.5 years. So this is not something that we just decided to do all of a sudden.
Because everybody's doing it. You've been doing this for a while.
The major difference is DVG games, you're usually running several aircraft over a battle board. Like I know in Age-64 Apache Live, because that's the one I own and I still play a lot of times. You got a couple Thunderbolts, you might have 2 or 3 or 4 Apaches and you're controlling all these over the battle board. All of the DVG games are the same way. You're controlling multiple aircraft. In this one, you are in the cockpit of one aircraft. Now, as you get promoted, you will be assigned wingmen, a staffel, a flight. you will have more aircraft that you kind of have a loose control over. You decide what altitude you're going to approach from, if you're going to be wide, if you're going to be narrow formation. But for the most part, all the decisions are in the cockpit. You're behind the stick making the decisions. When do I start my dive? When do I pull out of my dive? It really is a narrative, because at every step of the process, you're having to make decisions on cards to play to modify your dice rolls. If you want to start with a high dive, that's fine. You can do that. Your dice roll is going to be, your target number for your dice roll is going to be a little bit easier. You can burn less cards on that. You want to make a real steep dive as you're coming in and pull out at the last second. Well, that's going to be a much harder roll to make, especially if you're an nascent pilot, and you're going to have to play more cards from your hand and modify your dice roll to be able to make that attack successful. We've got an experience system in this. The experience system will determine when you get promoted, but you can take these points and you can modify your card deck by switching out cards and buying more improved versions of them, or buying cards that will give you skills and abilities that you didn't have earlier. For example, a strafing. You might have a card that you start off with as modifiers, a strafe of 1. What if you want to be a really good strafer? As you gain experience, I want the strafe 2 card, or I want the strafe 3 card for later on. The reason you really want to update these cards is I keep saying this every time I mention the game. The very first time I played, my very first mission, I decided I was going to go into a steep dive and pull out at the last second. Everything went off fine. I dropped my bomb. My bomb really didn't do much. It damaged the target and whatever. If I'd had better cards and was more experienced, it would have destroyed the target. But as I'm making my pull-up roll, I don't have the decent cards for my pull-up. So I actually at the time don't think I played any cards, because I just didn't have the cards for it. And the Polish anti-aircraft shot me down. My very first mission, my very first dive bomb, and I got shot down by anti-aircraft because I wasn't. Yeah, which is better than going straight into the ground, right? Which could have happened. So it's a more of a narrative approach, and you're focusing on one plane. Although, like I said, as you gain experience, you'll have the option, or you won't have the option. You will take over larger and larger flights of Stukas, but they're kind of handled abstractly. You don't have to control every single plane. It's like, all right, we're going in, we're going to do a medium bomb release at a scattered formation, and that'll determine, dice rolls for what happens to the target. But for the most part, you got the stick in your hand.
So it's completely different from
completely different.
If you want, Kurt, I loaded the video for you. It's a short little video. It's like a little. If you want to play it,
yeah, play it. Yeah, we'll play it. Let me scroll down to you. Sorry.
Just stop it though. Stop bringing these. Stop it.
Hit play.
Okay,
okay, there we go.
Wow. I'll tell you what, I mean, in their heyday, there were lumbering things and they could be shot down easily, but in their heyday, they must have been frightening with those screechy things they had on the wings to make that noise. Yeah, brilliant. Damn
Well,
you.
and one of the things that also is nice about this is that the campaign that you can play spans from Poland all the way to 1944, and we've got several different theaters. When you start off your campaign, you decide which one of the Sturmgewehrs you're going to fly with. Sturmgewehr 1, 2, and I think 77 was the third one, and that will determine your path through the war. So, for example, and don't hold me to this because I'm not that. I think Sturmgewehr 2 was assigned to North Africa and Crete. So you're going to see more campaigns and more theaters focusing on that. We do have an optional 1938 Condor Legion campaign. So if you want to fly with the Condor Legion before you step into the Polish campaign, there's that.
Get more experience, yeah.
To get more experience. Yeah. One of the stretch goals is going to be you're going to be assigned. I can't remember the Sturmgewehr, but you're going to be flying the Stuka Ju-87C, the Kaiser, the Caesar, flying off the Graf Zeppelin. We're including a hypothetical operational theater where you can fly off the Graf Zeppelin as a stretch goal. There's, I think, what have we got? 7 different theaters that you can end up flying in. Battle of Britain, Battle of Norway, France, North Africa, Crete, Eastern Front. I mean, it's just
so this won't be in an 1.5-inch box then.
I think we can get away at very low counter count. Absolutely less than a counter sheet worth of counters. It's all card driven. No dice. Everything is done from the cards. So you don't.
Amen.
Yeah. He's rubbish with dice. Yeah.
So am I. I prefer card driven. It's like Upfront. I loved Upfront because it was all. And that's one of the reasons I love Point Blank. It's all the cards. It's not the dice.
These cards seem to be, from my looking at them, multi-use. So you could use them for the top part or the bottom part.
Or the bottom part. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you have to decide. Part of the game is managing your hand of cards.
That is exactly it. It is a card-driven game about hand management because you only have an X number of cards. Now you do have a stamina pool that you can burn your stamina to blind draw cards to give you your bonuses, but you could draw a card and it might not have the bonus on it, so you just burned your stamina. But your stamina is also, I just got wounded, lose 3 stamina. So it's all about hand management, hand conservation, what cards to play when, how you're going to approach. Like I said, it's all behind the stick and it's all narrative.
I'll tell you what, David, he's rubbish at selling the game.
Yeah.
I want it now. Is it out by Christmas?
It will go to Game Found after the Napoleonics game.
All right.
I mean, we
want them now.
It is 90. I would say 98% done. We're waiting on a couple more graphics that we want to stick into the rule book and on some of the flight cards. But mechanically, the game is done. The tabletop simulator module is done. Yes, I will be doing videos on it.
Oh, dear. This is something completely different to what you normally do, isn't it? Something completely different. Yeah.
Completely different.
And also, all the artwork on the cards and everything else are, well, I don't want to say all of it, 90-something% of it is all colorized. So you're getting black and white. Some of it's all, we did it in color. Some of them we got and we colorized it. So you won't be all black and white pictures that you're used to seeing like in the past.
You've colorized them up. Wonderful. Yeah.
And Ruff, you're going to love this. When we originally did it, the theaters were color coded to the cards.
Hold on, yeah, take it now.
No, you truly will appreciate this. Originally, the theaters and the mission cards were color coded to each other. So if you're doing like over Crete or you're doing Battle of Britain, a lot of it is going to be over ocean. You're doing Mediterranean missions. You're doing ocean. If you're flying in North Africa, it's orange because that's what the theater. But then I was sitting back and I realized it's like, our colorblind customers aren't going to be able to see that. We need to come up. So we actually went in and adjusted it so our colorblind customers can still figure out which theaters we labeled them. It's like, all right, orange.
What you want is a little icon. Yeah.
Well, we were thinking of going with the icon, but the icons were too small for the cards. So we just put, all right, orange, North Africa, and in the theater book, North Africa. They're all labeled. The cards are labeled. The orange cards are labeled as North Africa. They're labeled as North Africa in the orange theater book. I mean, all the color coding for the cards and the theater book also have the relative names. Because honestly, dude, I was thinking of you when
Thank you. Love you. I'll tell you
know.
what, color blindness. When I first found out I was colorblind, it was a shock. It was a real bolt out the purple.
Just wait until he figures out he can't play games.
Anyways,
I'm not guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news once again.
I got that.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news once more, as we have got to wind things up already. It's already been your best 2 hours of the week. Yes.
Well, I don't know about you, but you know.
And if you haven't
let me show you guys.
Smash that like button. Oh, I love the trousers, David.
Thank you.
They're pajama pants. We wear them all the time.
Pajamas on for us.
What you got now? Oh,
This
is a 3D thing.
This is a 3D.
Oh.
Now, just so you know, we're giving this away for free if you ordered Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. We threw it in as of last week. So if you've already kickstarted it or crowdfunded it or whatever you want to call it, it's done. If you lay pledge, you're going to get it. Okay. There's only one map, which is this map. What is it? 83, Dev?
Map 83. Yep.
Map
It goes
83.
on, right.
So if you hate this, don't worry about it. You still got the map and you can play like you normally do.
Oh no,
If
we
you
like
do like it.
we like pimping up our stuff. We love it.
Okay, the chipboard is twice the thickness of the counters. So it's kind of hard to hold the counters on it, and it's a little warping because it's just a prototype. But you can put 2 counters. I don't know if you can see this too well. And it's equal to the hill. So one counter is still behind the hill. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's basically what we're thinking. Al Davis does a lot of ASL. Lock and Load Tactical does a lot of miniatures. We're not going to go back and do it in other games, so don't ask. But the object here is so we can make an add-on for, let's just say, another Lock and Load Tactical game where we can let people buy the add-on to play with 3D maps. And what this is made to do, right now, it's only for the standard map because, like I said, we threw it in there because we wanted people's opinion, and you just match it up, which you're probably going to do a very bad job of
Great
this.
for line of sight. Fantastic. You know.
Yeah. It actually, I have to tell you, it was something I came up with, I've been thinking about, and that was the idea, and that's how it looks. And I got it from, I think, some ASL games and games Al Davis was playing. But again,
Yes, you can see something, don't you, with those 3D maps? Yeah.
yeah. But you'll get it for free in your Kickstarter games.
Awesome. That looks cool. That looks really cool.
Mm.
Well, everybody, again, thank you so much for coming out
Goes so
and
quick.
supporting the War Room here on this week. And we appreciate, of course, Lock and Load Publishing coming out and visiting with us again, giving us all the inside information about their wonderful games coming up.
I will tell you, Lock and Load's the next game she's going to learn after we're done with Command and Colors.
I'm waiting for that, buddy. I'm waiting for that video.
You're going to watch me get my behind handed to me by my
You always
daughter.
get your behind handed to you.
That's true. It's got dice involved. You know, I can't help it. You know. Yeah,
So we look forward to
nice.
all the new things coming up for Lock and Load. Of course, stay tuned to our channel. Of course, David will update me and I will update everyone else either here or on our Facebook group. So thanks everyone for coming out for another show. We do appreciate it. Don't forget, December 3rd will be our 3-year anniversary. Special episode coming up for that. So we appreciate everyone. If you can make it out for that, we're going to have prizes, giveaways, all kinds of great stuff, fun things. In fact, we even have a surprise. I'm not sure we're ready to announce it yet, but we will have some information on that coming up in the next week or two. So once again, thanks to Lock and Load Publishing.
Yeah, thank you
For
guys.
coming out
Thank you
today.
for having us,
And
guys.
Great fun. Thank you.
absolutely. Good time. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming on. Sorry we didn't get to more questions and get to talk with you guys more. We didn't even do what happened on this day in history today.
No.
But we just ran out of time.
You know, we're
and-
oogling over a new Napoleonics game.
Right,
Yeah,
we're
we're
oogling over all
and
the
a
cool
snooker
things.
game and everything. It was stop it.
Right.
Yeah.
So thanks to Natalie. How you doing, Natalie?
Hello, darling.
Good.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week then. Until then, take care, guys.
See ya.